What's up guys, today we're going to be breaking down one of the most legendary fights in all of anime history, Goku vs Frieza. But before we do that, don't forget to subscribe, it would really help the channel out and allow me to make more awesome videos. The first thing I have to go over is how great this fight and the whole Namek saga does with escalation. A sense of escalation is so important in fights, especially in a series like Dragon Ball. The best analogy I can come up with for this fight is that it's like a perfect 5-course meal. It starts off with a great appetizer with fights between Frieza and the rest of the Z fighters trying to stall for time for Goku. I know it's a meme at this point for the Z fighters to stall for Goku, but there's a reason why Toriyama does it so often. It's a great source of tension before the fight even begins, and the only reason people don't like it now is because of how often it's used. And the reason why this one especially is a great appetizer is because of Frieza's transformations. And these transformations aren't just for aesthetic purposes. These transformations create a symbolic countdown timer for Goku to wake up. And each defeat from one of these transformations makes the time feel like it's counting down even faster, especially with Vegeta. The reason why this is because Vegeta was the big bad guy from the previous saga. You know, the guy that almost beat Goku and only got beaten because of a complete desperation attempt by Yajirobe and only has gotten stronger since then. Yeah, that guy is now gone from a finger blast from Frieza's final form, and now Goku has to fight that guy, which leads to the main meal of Goku versus Frieza. The interesting thing about this fight, Frieza in his final form, is that it's as minimal as possible. His actions take little to no effort. Frieza doesn't get in his stance and starts yelling and charging an energy blast. All he does is point a finger. And when he's met with any amount of resistance, he complains as if he's a spoiled teenager. This is not a warrior like Vegeta. This is a member of the upper class that is getting annoyed because they have to do something for once. This is in stark contrast to Goku, who is a literal bumbling mountain man that farms for a living.
Oh, I forgot my tractor.
This is the equivalent of a random redneck from Kentucky boxing the King of England. But the best part about this fight is the fight choreography. And Toriyama uses everything he's learned up to this point in this fight, and it definitely shows. Toriyama does a great job of using every aspect of the terrain to create interesting situations. And that's a big problem with modern Dragon Ball, where fights almost exclusively take place in the air, and it almost doesn't matter where the fights are located. But in this fight, it really does matter. My personal favorite part is when Frieza tries to drown Goku. You almost forget that characters like Superman, Goku, and even Saitama are able to drown. Because of how powerful they are, you almost forget that if they drink too much water at once, they will die, which again humanizes Goku. Now, with that all being said, there is a part of this fight that is legitimately bad, and that is the use of the Spirit Bomb. The Spirit Bomb, in theory, is an interesting attack, but in practice, it just doesn't work in this fight. How the Spirit Bomb works is that Goku gathers up all the energy from all nearby life forms, creating a giant ball, and eventually hits the enemy with that giant ball, creating a massive explosion. This creates another ticking clock for everyone to try to stall in order for Goku to gather up enough life energy, which works narratively when Goku is doing this either on Earth or talking to everyone in the universe. But right now, Planet Namek is almost completely empty. It's literally like trying to solve everything with the power of friendship, but all your friends are already dead. But luckily, that's not what ends the fight, and Frieza survives. Frieza, being slightly fed up with the situation, decides to kill Piccolo and Krillin. This tragedy leads Goku to transform into his iconic Super Saiyan form, and this transformation is one of the most intense scenes in all of Dragon Ball. Unfortunately, some of this is lost now due to most people knowing what a Super Saiyan is, even if they've never watched the series. But at the time, the only things we knew about Super Saiyan was the ramblings of Vegeta throughout this arc. At first, it looks like Goku is turning into a great ape due to him losing control of his anger and his eyes losing its pupils. But after a couple flashes of light, Goku becomes Super Saiyan for the very first time, becoming almost Zen-like towards his focus towards Frieza and the situation. This leads us to our dessert, our crescendo of this almost perfect fight. This part starts off with Goku, for a lack of a better term, utterly kicking Frieza's ass. This is to show that this is no mere power-up like the Kaioken. You might as well consider Frieza fighting a completely different person at this point. Later on in the series, Super Saiyan is depicted as just a power-up, but for right now, for this fight, it is shown as Goku being ascended. This leads to Frieza putting a hole into Namek, stating that it will blow up within 5 minutes, allowing him to get the win due to the fact that he can breathe in space and Goku can't. Just like the drowning scene from earlier, highlighting how alien Frieza is in comparison to Goku. Frieza also tempts Goku to allow him to power up more in order to hit his max power level, and of course Goku agrees. There is a lot of criticism towards Goku for this decision, but I believe this is because fans don't understand why Goku allowed Frieza to power up to 100%.
No, listen. If you let me power up, I'll give you a pizza.
It is not just because Goku wanted a good fight. It's because Goku wanted to also save Frieza. Goku believed that he could change Frieza through the conversation of combat, just like he did with Vegeta. The reason why this worked on Vegeta and not Frieza is because Vegeta is an actual warrior. He understands the conversation through combat. But Frieza, he is just a dictator. The idea that someone was stronger than him didn't bring out this healthy sense of competition like it did for Vegeta. It brought the sense of fear, and people do desperate things when they are scared. And this desperation led to Frieza's downfall at the end of the fight. Instead of fighting fairly, Frieza decided to use a move similar to the Destructo Disc, cutting himself in half. Even after that, Goku decided to spare him and give him a little bit of energy so he could escape and fight another day. But instead of doing that, Frieza decides to use that little bit of energy Goku just gave him for one last desperate attack. The reason why Frieza decided to do this is because a dictator cannot exist while someone out there is definitively stronger than them. But that's all I have for this fight. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe and see y'all next time.